Third time's a charm. Let's do this again. Hello, single chicken noodle watching. That makes no sense. I thought I was sticking to only cereals. I guess not. I just got my braces adjusted. I have absolutely no notes, and I'm diving into this without a preconceived notion of what exactly I'm going to be talking about. So, let's get into it. As we can see by the video that decided to perish immensely, today we are going to be talking about Pokemon. More specifically, how I got into Pokemon. Or, you know, my Pokemon journey. Whatever it ends up being. The image here is actually one of my characters. I don't know if I've drawn him on the channel before, but that was a glitch. This is Void. He was originally a Marvel OC. He still is, technically, but I decided to, this time around for Sword and Shield, I decided to put him in the Pokemon universe and actually make his character in Pokemon, because I wanted to. Why not? Because, oh boy, it keeps glitching. I'm still finagling this whole recording setup, so it's gonna be a little glitchy. But I decided to put him in the Pokemon universe, and this was, I actually drew this before I got the game. It was around Christmas time I got the game, and I drew this a little before we headed to my grandparents for Christmas, because I wanted to. We head to grandparents for Christmas? No, we stay here for Christmas, but I drew this, I think I drew this beforehand, but I'm not quite certain. But this is what I have envisioned his team to be. It ended up changing ever so slightly from this. Like, I don't exactly remember how it changed. I definitely went with Sobble, and I had a Nickit and a Wooloo and a Yamper on my team. But I ended up, like, overthinking which characters I wanted, and I ended up realizing I wanted him to be a fairy type trainer. So I ended up switching out a lot of my Pokemon for, I kept Snom though. I ended up switching out a lot of them for fairy types, like Alcremie, that one, as well as I always call it BD, but Hatterene, whatever it's called, the one that's chasing Void in the image. But I ended up doing that. There we go. But of course I had to have Snom on my team, because Snom is a god, and if anyone says otherwise, they are going to perish to the Snom gods. Anyway, this isn't really about that yet. For this story time, I'm gonna have to go back all the way to the beginning, when I was a little bitty baby. Well, I don't remember what age I was, but I was young. And to preface, these are the cousins on my mom's side. One of them I was really close to. I'm not going to use his actual name, but I'm going to call him Ash. So Ash was like the older brother I never had. He was cool, he was great. He's actually married now. He's a baby boy of his own, and it's so sweet. But at the time, Ash was actually the one that introduced me to Pokemon, because I remember one time we were over at my grandparents' place. And great. There we go. I being the social recluse I am, even from a young age, went down to the basement with him, and I'm just trying to figure out the timeline of events, but we would always go down to the basement sometimes to get away from things, me and him and his brother and my sister. So my sister, and our two cousins would head down to the basement of their house when we wanted to get away from the adults. And I remember one time I headed down, and he was sitting there playing on this little, I believe it was silver. Yes, his is silver. His little silver gaming device, which I later found out was a Game Boy. That was my first time ever seeing, like, handheld video games. I believe we had a Wii at the time, but I think the most game I played on that, I don't know if I played Animal Crossing before Pokemon or after Pokemon, but Animal Crossing is another fun game I have to get into at some point. But I remember looking over his shoulder. He was sitting in this big armchair. It was really big compared to him at the time, or big compared to me. I don't know about him, but he's always been a tall dude. And I remember I was watching him play Pokemon. Was it Fire Red or Leaf? It was Leaf Green. He had Leaf Green. Well, he actually had both. But so he was playing Leaf Green, and I would watch him, and it became like this habit of every time I went to my grandparents' place, I would end up watching him play Pokemon Leaf Green. And I got so invested in the story and everything that was happening, and then he said he could lend me the game. And I was like, okay, great, this is gonna be amazing. But then later, he went up to me and got me Pokemon Fire Red version, which I think he had already had, but to me it was like amazing, because it was the first Pokemon game I ever played. And I don't know if it came before or after I started playing Fire Red, but he had a bunch of these old Pokemon toys and like dolls and stuff, and I still need to find those, but I still have the dolls, but I lost my collection of the toys. And of course at this time I didn't know half of their names. I think young childs and like how they're all like, I'm gonna name this one Gregory. But he had a silver in the toys. There was a silver Groudon, a silver Kyogre. I think there was a Rayquaza, but I can't quite remember. There was a Turtwig and a Wooper and a Pachirisu, and I loved them to bits. And I remember one day I went over to my aunt's house, and she comes up to me and it's like, hey, we're trying to declutter. Do you want any of this stuff? So she brings out all of my cousin Ash's old Pokemon toys, along with some of the old plushes. And I was in love. And to this day, I still sleep with a camo. That was what I named my Bulbasaur that I got. And to this day, every time I get a Bulbasaur in a game, I name it Camo. And I still have the plush, and I sleep with him, and he's really old. He's falling apart, but I love him to bits, and he's just the best. But, I got those from him. I don't know if this was, and again, timeline's messed up. I have shit memory. But I ended up, it was either I got the game and then the plushes, or I got the plushes and then the game, but either or. He was kind of the reason I'm into Pokemon today. And I couldn't be happier about it, because, like, and yes, call me childish, call me whatever the frick you want to, but it just made me happy. I remember, and this was also another thing, was, so, a while back, and this, no, so I got Fire Red, and then from Fire Red, which, my dad actually lent me his old Game Boy. It was a like metallic red looking one, which my sister actually has now, but, because of course she gets to have the Game Boy and the DS, but, That's besides the point. So I, at the time, I was playing on the Game Boy, and I was able to play his old Super Mario as well. But woo, God, reminiscing of this stuff is it's wild. I remember that I could, one time at my grandparents' place, same grandparents on my mom's side, I was at their house with the Game Boy, and I had gotten through most of the game, and oh man, it was fun. It was tricky, but it was fun. But I got to this one point where I just got stuck, and I don't remember if I'd over-leveled my team or what happened, but I couldn't faint, which I know that might sound like a really good thing, but at the time I was like, I don't know how to get out of here. It was the cave system leading to the Elite Four, which I ended up beating it. Not the Elite Four. To this day, I still haven't beat that Elite Four. But I ended up. I got stuck in this one point, and I couldn't, because one of the trainers had moved to block my way when it went to go battle me, and I couldn't get through, so I was like, okay, well, if all my Pokemon faint, it'll send me back to the Pokemon Center, and then from there I'll be able to just, continue. Yeah, it'll be a setback, but it'll be okay, and I'm sure my Pokemon will understand, like, it'll be fine. They wouldn't frickin' die. I think I got my entire team down except for Camo. My Venusaur, he wouldn't perish. I had given him leftovers, and my stupid brain forgot to actually take the leftovers away. But, like, no matter what I did, he wouldn't die. I don't know how I got out of that situation. I ended up getting out and getting to the Elite Four and everything, but I got so frustrated. It just... It was fun. I think the second Pokemon game I ever got was X and Y. Or Y, to be specific. I got X later. I always had this thing where I liked, I would get the first game, play through it, and then end up getting the second one just used, so I could transfer all of the Pokemon into my original game. I got some good Pokemon that way, but and I still need to redo that, like, keep doing that. Now with Sword and Shield and everything. If I get a used sword, I can just bam, bingo, bongo. But the second game I ever got was X and Y, and oh man, did I love that game to bits. It was just an amazing game. That, by far, is one of my favorites, I'd have to say. X and Y. I loved, freaking Yveltal was just so overpowered. He was amazing. It took me so long to beat him, but at the same time, it's so worth it when I did. That's the thing, is I find it so interesting that now I don't get the same payback that I did with the old games. Like, I don't think the difficulty's changed. Maybe it's slightly easier, but and I'm also slightly older, so that also changes things. But I don't know, it's just, there's something about the old games that, and like, don't get me wrong, I love the new games too, but there's just something missing. There was this passion that was in the old games, and I think it dwindled out after Black and White. Because there was so much effort and love put into that game. And yet, it was the least well received. At least by critics and, like, sales. Though by far that was one of my favorites. That was the third game I ever got. The first was, Fire Red. And the second was X and Y. And then I went back and played through Black White 2. I never had the original Black and White. I'm thinking of trying to get it. But Black White 2 was amazing. And I named my character Shadow after Shadow the Hedgehog in Black and White 2. It was great. And then, so back to X and Y. I remember I was having such a hard time beating the gym. Not the gym, the Elite Four for the first time. So I ended up getting one of my friends, quote unquote friends. I'm not in contact with him anymore. I don't even know where he went. He dropped off the face of the earth after grade 7. 6? 5? A grade. He dropped off the face of the earth after the grade I met him in, and he was a jackass, but I can get into that later. In a different video altogether. This is a cheerful video, not a scrape rants about their exes for 17. Wow, it's only 17 minutes. We're getting good at cutting time down. I mean, I am an overwriter. I need to work on that. But that's another thing. Every game I had a theme to it. At least after X and Y, I think. Yeah, every time I had a theme. One of the main themes I can remember is one of the main themes was for Sun and Moon. Ultra for Ultra I did Trolls, or like Homestuck. I ended up doing the Homestuck Trolls. For the game before that, Regular Sun, I ended up doing what did I do? I don't remember. Recording's done. I guess we're gonna get a sneak peek into my my recording setup. How I store my videos. This one's also related to Pokemon, so let's just plop that in there. Well, that's going way too quick. Okay. So, I remember what was I talking about? Not important. Oh, right, theming. So there was X and Y was 12 realms characters. X and Y was 12 realms. Ultra was Homestuck. And no, X and Y was Legend of Zelda. 12 realms. Crossover mix things. Four swords. That one. But listen to Scrape be silent for frickin' 25 minutes because they can't frickin' think. What up? But and then for the most recent game, I remember I did Void. Basically how Void would play through it. I made my character Void. I named all the characters like how Void would name them, just like whatever popped in my head when I first saw them. I remember I named Nickit Tivin after Tanalair Tivian, or the Collector. And then Wooloo. Wooloo was Cotton Puff, I think. Did I end up naming them after Minecraft characters? That's another thought altogether. My starter Sobble was Bubbles. Because Bubbles. And then Zamazenta was just Zammy. Oh, I completely glossed over my role-playing phase, which I'm still in. But, one of my first ever role-plays where I met one of my best internet friends, Kindred, if you're watching this, hello Avery. Pleasure to see you again. Or hear you again, I don't know. Pleasure for you to hear me again. I guess. Who the frick knows? But that was one of the first ever role plays I did, was on Miiverse with Kindred and a couple other people, which I don't know where they went. It makes me sad, but it was a good roleplay. We're actually continuing / redoing it right now, which I need to respond to that. But that was where one of my Pokemon OCs, Catoptrix, was created. And originally, this is a complete tangent, but Catoptrix was originally an OC named Archaeoptrix, which I later found out was the actual name of a freaking dinosaur. And it was basically just a horrible feminized version of Arkin. Because I was uncreative, but now it's just a horrible ripoff of Gardevoir. But I remember he was originally so edgy. Which there is nothing wrong with being edgy. Like, I'm an edgy boy right here, but it was like edgy done in a bad way, and it's okay for me to say that because it was my character. But frick. Again, you always do this. How dare you? Did I do the Christmas? I have used the Christmas present. It's just... No, I don't want to use that one. This has absolutely nothing to do with Pokemon, but it'll do as a background image. So, God, this video is a train wreck, and I'm okay with that. But basically, Catoptrix, after I figured out that Archaeopteryx was an actual dinosaur, I was like, oh shit, man, gotta change him up. So I remember sitting on my bed one night, tracing out of the Pokemon handbook, as you did, and I was like, ooh, what if we take Curlia, but make it a haunted doll? And so from there, it was like, okay, now what if that doll was possessed by a spirit? So I originally just ripped off Bayonet's whole thing. So I ripped off Bayonet's backstory, or origin story, or whatever. I butchered Curlia and Gardevoir and everything, and I can actually, I was gonna say I could try to find those images, but I didn't have them posted or saved anywhere. But, and then and of course, it started out as like this big, bad, evil, commanding another team of, originally they were just like weird off-colored Pokemon. And they're still weird off-colored Pokemon, but there's a reason for them being weird off-colored Pokemon now. But, I had Vitron, who's a horrible rendition of Victini. I had, Meowth. I was creative, which was just a purple Meowth. No relation to Mewtwo, which was supposed to be a clone of Meowth from the original Pokemon movie and everything, and so there was those, and then there was Generate, rather than, I still need to work with his name or their name, but it was a robot, a human-made robot. This was before like Magearna or anything. Human-made robot Pokemon. Whoop whoop. It basically served as a living Pokedex. And I had made these before the Rotom Dex existed, so don't at me, people. And then there was Darkretta, which was a Dark Meloetta. Wow, I think we can see a theme here. Wait. I want to see if I can, on my own Scratch account. Scratch is another thing. But I had 2 Scratch accounts. My most recent one, which is still a couple years old, was Chaos and Mayhem, which was basically Skylanders themed. And then there was Victini CNG, which I recently found out that one of my friends used to watch my old videos on there, which is insane. 'Cause it was like, why would you do this? But someone commented on my old account. But I'll see if I can find, oh my god. This is a blast into the past. But I remember I used to host all these like things, and I did this thing called Victini News, which was, oh my god. Like, look at this. This is just so, I don't even know what this is. And then this guy kept remixing all of my things and not crediting me. And yeah, even one of my friends this you? This is him! Leave him. Yeah, but it was like, I would do these videos with, I did a whole FNAF thing. This was the original. This was the original design of Vitron, which has changed quite a bit. I want to see if I can find my old... yeah, he used to look like that. And they were all led by... I want to see if I can find old Catoptrix. But... they were all led by Catoptrix. And... oh my god. Sammy and Art. My god, this is a... I'm in awe. Oh my god. Here's more stuff. That was... oh god. Feminized Victini. I would do these art dumps, and how I became a Pokemon, that also plays into it. Here he is! Here is the main event! The horrible, the... oh, frick. But these were the original designs. This was Generate, and be warned, I did trace. This was Darkreta. I used the Pokemon Art Academy app. Oh my god. Darkreta, Vitron, Catoptrix in his zone form, and Catoptrix. And you can clearly tell that the traced ones are a lot better than the not traced ones. But, no. Oh my god. There we go. I'll see if I can find their new designs. But I also roleplayed a lot on there and everything. I really need to make a Pokemon. Let's speed paint clips. Oh, I should use some of those. But, this one was Vitron. This is his new design now, which I changed it so that they are Delta forms, because Catoptrix was considered a Reaper, or I think it's called a Reaper. I think I used the term Reaper, but let me get a better view of that. Basically, a Reaper, he's a Reaper Pokemon, which is, he has the ability to resurrect Pokemon that have died, but it exchanges their type for the complete opposite, which is what created Delta Pokemon, which I also came up with this whole thing before, based off of the Delta Pokemon cards that I had, you know, the really old ones that were mistyped and called Deltas. Yeah, this was before that, before the regional variants were introduced. And I made this little bean. He's a ghost type. I had to put the psychic logo because there isn't a ghost one, but that's... nope, 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 nope. Oh, this was, remember how I mentioned the how I became a Pokemon? Well, these two characters were from that series, which ends up tying into it. They were, another gimmick that I had created was Gajinkas, where it was a human that could turn into a Pokemon, or a Pokemon that could turn into a human. And I ended up having this whole thing where in the AU roleplay that me and Kindred created, it was this whole like dystopian type Pokemon universe where the legendaries had taken over and were ruling over the world, and they had banished Toptrix into, like, they had made this little like puppet creature thing that contained them, that held them before, because of a prophecy that had told them that Catoptrix would be their downfall, which they ended up just creating their downfall themselves by doing that to him, because he had originally been just this peaceful little, bean baby. They had to go and be all evil like. But this is Calypso, or Calypso's original design. I'm changing it ever so slightly now because I don't quite like this one anymore. But we had Calypso, and I can't remember his name. Rover? No, but he was based off of, as you can tell, a Riolu. And I don't remember what gender I named them, but they were a Snivy and a Riolu. And where are my Pokemon babies? Oh, here's more. This one, his name is Ashen, and he was originally a Mewtwo, though I'm changing his Pokemon to something different, because having a Mewtwo would make no sense. And then this is Camo. Of course I had to put him in the thing. He's a Bulbasaur. And him, Ashen, what's-his-face, and Calypso were a part of a team called, I think it was Delta Recon Squad. I don't remember what it was called, but it was this team created by the Legendaries in order to put an end to Catoptrix's creation of Deltas, which he was just trying to be a nice dude and bring back fallen Pokemon. This is his redesign. As you can see, he has a stitched hand, which was supposed to represent his stuffed animal, or his containment, the plushie he was contained within, which I ended up actually making that it was made out of his own hand, and that's why it could contain him, because it had his DNA, but, typical stuff for Pokemon. But, I had so much fun with that, and me and Kindred are currently in the process of rebooting that. Because their character, I love their characters so much. We call them C right now, because she needs to need to redo her name. Because as you grow older and everything, you learn that why did I make it such an edgy name? Which I personally like the name, but it is their character, so they get to decide. But, Pokemon has really influenced my life, if you couldn't tell. There's so much to it, and I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, as I usually do. But it's always been such a big part of my life, and if Pokemon hadn't been there, it would, much like Skylanders and Animal Crossing and everything like that. I should do one about Skylanders, like how I first got into it and everything. If you'd be interested in that, feel free to comment down below. I know no one is, because Skylanders is dead. But I would be happy to ramble on for, oh man, we're at 40 minutes. I'd be happy to ramble on for X amount of time about really anything, if you couldn't already tell. But my voice is starting to get hoarse, and my mouth hurts like hell, and I think I've already gone on way too many tangents, so there might be a part 2 to this if I can think of anything else. If not, this is where I'm going to leave you. So, thank you, Single Fruit Loop, for watching, or Chicken Noodle. My name is Scrape, and this has been... Who the frick knows?